Welcome to the Odd Life Podcast. That's AWED, which stands for Awake, Well, and Empowered. We're here to have conversations to inspire women of all ages to live odd AF. So thank you for joining me. Let's dig in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Odd Life Podcast. I'm your host, Hallie. I am really happy to be in this little space, this little corner of my world here. I am back in my office recording this again. I have been back now for a little over a week from Colorado. And that's what I want to talk about today is our experience living in Colorado for the last 2.5 months. The lessons I've learned a little bit about living someplace other than here for long term. And I want to share a little bit about that experience because there's a lot that I learned about myself, about renting, about what to do, what not to do. I mentioned it a few podcast episodes ago about looking forward to this experience and what I wanted to get out of it. And so we're going to reflect on that a little bit. Maybe this is something that you may be considering down the road for yourself. I think a big chunk of this, there was really 2 reasons why we wanted to do this is number one, be close to the boys during baseball season. If you didn't know, and if you do know this, I'm so sorry repeating this again, but our boys both played on the same baseball team in college this past year. And so their spring season was from end of January through middle of May. The last 3 years, we had been traveling back and forth almost every weekend. If my husband couldn't make it because of work, I was going to be there. And for some reason, if I couldn't be there, he was going to be there. We may have missed 1 or 2 because of my daughter playing soccer up in Omaha, and she had some senior stuff. And so we didn't want to miss there were some things going on with her last year. So we may have missed a couple things, but not much. But it's a 9-hour drive for us. So the first 3 years of my son being in Colorado playing, we had another son at home and we couldn't stay out there. And so the games usually are played Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's a 4-game series against each team. So you play 1 team for 4 games a weekend. So there's usually 1 game on Friday. That's a 9-inning game. Then 2 games on Saturday with a doubleheader. Both games are 7 innings. And then Sunday is another 9-inning game. So we'd wait and leave after that Sunday game. It was just a lot. So now both boys are in college. There's no reason for us not to be out there. Between gas and hotel and all the eating out, we felt like it was still worth it for time and our mental energy. Because driving back and forth 9 hours each way is a lot. And usually I was driving out there. My husband would be working on the way out. And then I may drive part of the way back home and he would take over for a little while. But we would roll in like at 1 a.m. That sucked. And the next couple of days, whether it's work and laundry and trying to get a workout in and then turn back around on Thursday or Friday morning. So it was a lot every weekend during that time of the year. So we did that for 3 years straight. So we wanted to make that easier on us for that reason. And of course, be close to the boys and be able to be as much a part of their experience together and being on the same team. It's very rare that we have 2 kids from the same family on the same baseball team. And for us, it was lightning in a bottle and we wanted to be around it as much as possible. So that was a big reason. But also, we've always wondered, we love Colorado. We've always gone on vacation there. We've skied there. We've gone there for baseball for the boys when they were younger. And always wondered what it'd be like to live there. Would we like it? I don't know. We're always on vacation there. And when you're on vacation, it seems like a great place to live because of all the things you get to do and see. But what's it like to live there and have to still go to work and do life as normal? So it was going to serve another purpose as well, to see what it would feel like to live there. And so we chose to live right outside Colorado Springs because it was a shorter drive to the boys. They go to Colorado State Pueblo. And that's about a 40-minute drive south of Colorado Springs, maybe even 35 minutes. And we found a rental home just up the highway, up the mountain, right past Manitou Springs in a little town called Cascade. It's literally the smallest town. It has a post office, a tiny little library, 1 restaurant, and a crystals and rock shop. I'm not kidding. That was it. We found this place because I'd put it on Facebook. Hey, does anybody know anybody that has a home to rent close to Colorado Springs? This is why we want to do it. We'd love to rent from somebody that has a connection rather than a stranger. Because I was looking online, it was really hard to find something that either was the right size or felt like it'd be a good home away from home. A lot of places were run down. I could imagine living there for a couple of months. I mean, if I can find a place that feels like home away from home, that's what we wanted to look for. And sure enough, a friend that I met years ago from baseball out in Steamboat, she said, "Hey, I've got a friend that I think just bought a place a couple years ago. They may have some availability in what you're looking for." And so reached out to her. It was available for about a month and a half. They had it rented for a week in the middle of April. So we said, you know what, we'll take it. We'll take as much as we can get. So we rented it from the end of February until the middle of April. So within a couple of weeks of being out there, we looked at the schedule and we thought, why would we not want to keep renting out here? So I asked her, if for some reason this other family cancels on you, let us know. She's like, chances are probably not. And plus, I have a couple of random dates mixed in that you won't be able to rent it. So, well, do you know anybody else that has a rental in the area? And so she's in a Facebook group. She's like, hey, there's this cabin it shows just up the road in Woodland Park. This may be available. You might check it out and it's a great price. So we ended up renting that for the last month of the season because it made no sense for us to haul all of our stuff back just to keep driving back for the next 4 weekends. So we rented 2 homes while we were out there. And this little town of Cascade was, like I said, just past Manitou Springs. It was about 7,500 or 8,000 feet is where we were at elevation wise. And it was just enough where you'd get a little chill in the morning because it still was really end of winter for them and hadn't quite got into spring yet. And so the weather was a little different. Normally we're there either dead of winter to go skiing. We've gone skiing before for spring break and there in the summer to enjoy the weather. And it was sort of a weird time to be there. But like I said, we're busy Friday, Saturday, Sunday baseball. So really Monday through Thursday was our time to be residents. And what was great about where we stayed, the view around the house was gorgeous. It was all trees. They had picture windows around the whole house. And every view was amazing. It was a great little location. We did have visitors. We had some mule deer that came to visit one time. We had a fox. After we moved out of that place to the second home, I got a video from the owner. So look what I saw on our Ring camera. And she had a video of a mama bear and her 2 cubs, and they were hanging out in the backyard, which really wasn't a backyard. It's just more like a space before it drops down the side of the hill. But they were playing in the backyard. I mean, it would have been crazy if we were there and we had bears. So they were just coming out of hibernation. We were further up the mountain by that time, but super cool. What was great about that house was it felt cozy. The kids came to visit. I'd get a call in the middle of the week. Hey, mom, what are you doing tonight? Because dad would be traveling. Hey, mom, what are you doing tonight? Just hanging out. Okay, I'm going to come up. Let's have dinner. Okay, great. So one of my kids would come up. We'd have dinner. He'd stay the night. We'd go have breakfast the next morning and he would take off and go back down to school. Again, 45-minute drive. So easy. So that kind of stuff was priceless. Like I would do that again in a heartbeat for just that experience. I know going away to college is amazing and to be able to have that time to learn and be an adult on your own and not have mom and dad around the corner to fix things or make you feel comfortable. But that's what the fall was. My youngest was away for 4 months, 5 months on his own. And our oldest obviously had done that for 3 years, never had us around. So it was great for him to finally have us closer. So we got a chance to bond with him during his senior year and spend more time with him than we've ever had before. And they would come up together sometimes on Monday nights because Sunday night was usually them with their teammates because it was the end of the weekend and they'd have Monday off. And so they would hang out as a team and do team stuff. And we'd see them Monday night to have dinner, which was great. Like I said, Colorado Springs was just down the hill. It was 10 minutes down the road from our house. So we could go into town, do whatever if we needed to. Got to see the stars. Oh, the stars, you guys in Colorado, if you've never been, if you go to the country away from the city, you know what it's like to have a gazillion stars. There's not a lot of light pollution up in the mountains. So you get to see all the stars. It's one of my favorite things. I was looking forward to that for sure. There was a bit of a glow of light from Colorado Springs where we stayed the first house. And then the second house we were at up in Woodland Park, there were street lights in front of us. Ugh, I was bummed because I thought for sure it would be darker up there, and it wasn't. They had street lights that were on and it sucked. So I couldn't see anything up there at all. Regardless, if you're ever in Colorado and you stay in a mountain town, a resort town, oh my gosh, look up. 2 times I've been in Colorado. We were in a meteor shower. We had one house we stayed in Steamboat that was on the side of the mountain. And the deck they had faced the valley, and it was stunning. In this big open space, you could sit out and just look at the stars, and it's just stars everywhere. Awesome. And then another time we were staying in Silverthorne, which is in Summit County, which is Breckenridge, Frisco, Dillon, that area. And we were staying at a home for July 4th. Back of the house faced a horse ranch. And then past the horse ranch was a beautiful mountain. I have pictures I took that were just, I can't believe we stayed there. And we'd see horses grazing because you could take those horses out for horseback riding. And then every once in a while, elk would show up and hang out in this big meadow. It was awesome. There was no lights out there for that. And we would sit on the hot tub on the second level and look at the stars. And again, shooting stars everywhere. So it's one of my favorite things to do when I'm in Colorado is to look up and see all the stars. And there's so many, and it's just awesome. When I was in Panama for my retreat that I went on after dinner, a bunch of girls wanted to go down to the beach and look at the stars. And I was like, I'm in. And Darcy was sitting next to me, and Darcy goes, I've never seen a shooting star. I just turned and looked at her. I go, shut up. I think I used an expletive, but I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And she said, no, I don't think I've ever seen a shooting star. I'm like, oh, well, you'd remember. If you saw a shooting star, you would know it. And I said, I can't believe you've never seen a shooting star. She's almost 40, I think maybe 41. I'm like, it's my favorite thing of all time. Like, I love to look at the stars and see shooting stars. And she now lives in Cape Cod. They moved out there a couple of years ago, I think. And I said, you're in the perfect spot now. Go and look up. You've got no light obstruction from a major city. Oh my gosh, you're by the ocean. Please tell me you take the time to go do that, because it is amazing. You'll never forget it. When you see a shooting star, it'll become your favorite thing. But I didn't see a shooting star at all when I was up there. It's just so disappointing. One thing we did too a lot was drive the scenic route. So whenever we went to the gym, which is on the north side of Colorado Springs, rather than drive down a highway, then get on another highway, I would always get off and drive along the Garden of the Gods. And Garden of the Gods, if you don't know, is a park that is right by Manitou Springs, between really the mountain range and Colorado Springs. And it's all this red rock that stands up. It looks like a triceratops. And then the backdrop of that is this big view of Pikes Peak. And I'll share a picture of it here in the video if you're watching on YouTube. It's a gorgeous drive. And so maybe it takes us 5-10 minutes longer, but I didn't care. It was the scenic route. And I'm like, I am taking the scenic route whenever I get a chance. Maybe I'd go get a coffee, and then I would drive along the road and have my sunroof open and music playing, or just listening to my own thoughts and enjoy the moment. My daughter came up to visit a couple times. She came up when we stayed at the first house, and she came up again at the second house. And I want to explain, the second house we stayed at was up in Woodland Park, which is about 10 minutes further up the mountain. It was about 1,000+ feet higher. So it was just a little different weather. It was windier and a little chillier. We got 2 weeks with her, which was fantastic. The first time she came to visit, that was a weekend my son broke his hand, which that sucked. But I'm so glad she was there for moral support and be there as a whole family to help him get through that. Her and I would go down to Colorado Springs and either shop. We played pickleball once. We drove around. There's a really cool area called Cheyenne Mountain. That's where the Broadmoor is. And there was a zoo. It's called the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. And it's on the side of a mountain. Literally, you're driving up the mountain to get to the zoo. I'm like, let's just go. We've got a great zoo back in Omaha and in Kansas City. So let's just go to the zoo. It was compact, but it was perfect. And we had a great time doing that. And then another time, so speaking of taking the scenic route, she wanted to go to Steamboat Springs. I'm like, oh, honey, that's like a 3.5, 4-hour drive. And then I thought, you've never been to Crested Butte. Why don't I take you there? That's still a 3.5-hour drive, but we're going to go through areas you've never been in before. We can swing back through Salida on the way back. You've never been there. So she's like, let's do it. So you go west from Woodland Park. You drive to Buena Vista. And Buena Vista is a town that is just south of Breckenridge. And instead of going north, you go south. And we go south to an area called Poncha Springs. And then we drive west again. And that goes up through Monarch Pass. And that takes you down into Gunnison. And then Crested Butte is north of Gunnison, about a half an hour. And we get to Crested Butte. And I had been there last summer. We dropped our youngest one off at school, at college. And we didn't want to drive back home right away. So we did a little 1.5-week tour around Southwest Colorado. And I'd never been to Crested Butte. That was sort of one of our last stops before we went to a concert in Red Rocks, met the boys there. So we did Crested Butte at the end of summer. So we're driving now to Crested Butte. We stopped in Buena Vista, got a coffee, showed her that little town, got through the pass. That was gorgeous. And then get to Crested Butte, there's this really cute little boutique there that I got her this really nice gold bracelet. She wanted to get another one. I wanted to get one for myself and wanted to check out the store. There's great art and books and hats, and clothes were nice, but they were boutique price clothes, and I didn't need any more clothes. So but mostly just the other stuff. And that store was open, thank goodness. And there's a pizza place across the street that was open, and we're like, I don't know if I want pizza. So we go down the street to look at another place. It was a sandwich shop, fresh made bread, and it was closed for the season. And we noticed as we kept walking, a lot of stores and restaurants were closed for the season. I was like, oh my gosh, spring skiing is over, and the signs were saying we're not open until Memorial Day. This is like the last weekend of April, early May. Nothing is open in that town. And one of the girls at the boutique had told us to go to Frank's Deli, great place for sandwiches. I mean, that's what we were planning on going. So we went to Frank's Deli, closed for the season. Literally nothing's open in this town. So we drove 3.5 hours to see nothing. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Didn't even think about it. It was considered their off season. Nobody's living there. Crested Butte is very isolated for the most part. Yes, Gunnison's a half an hour away, but it's kind of its own little thing. It's a ski town, and that's sort of it. And in the summertime, it's a gorgeous place to see the flowers, the meadows, the hiking, and all that stuff, and not at the end of April. So we can laugh about that. We went all the way to this town thinking I was going to show these cute little shops and have a choice of lunch and hang out, and nothing's open. So we ended up going to the grocery store, grabbing a bag of chips and a drink. Found those Terra chips, like the sweet potato chips. And then we drove to Salida, which is another couple hours back. And I took her to lunch there. And we almost missed lunch there because it was 2:30 at that time. They were closing at 3. So got a great sandwich. And I wanted to show her downtown Salida a little bit, which is a cute little town. But it was kind of colder and rainy by that time. So we ended up getting in the car. I drove around just a little bit to show her some things. And we got back on the road and went home. I took her a different way. So we took the scenic route home from there. Rather than go back the way we came, we drove east and went through sort of a county road. The speed limit most of the time was about 35 to 40 miles an hour. But we did see elk. That was our major goal, was to see wildlife, and we found elk. Thank God. So when in doubt, we always took the scenic route. And there's tons of scenic routes around the area. So I was all about getting off the beaten path. One time when Kyson, our son, broke his hand that weekend, the last game, rather than go down the highway through Colorado Springs, we took a different route. We went through Sedalia, and on the other side of the mountain, totally took a back way home. And that was sort of cool, even though it took us longer. Gorgeous. Never would have seen that before. I took her to Castle Rock, which is about an hour north of Colorado Springs. Took her there to go do a little shopping, check out this little cute downtown they had, and then went the back way home. There's another highway that runs parallel to I-25. There's a hilly area that's between the highways, so you don't see the highway. So you're in this little bit of a valley, and we saw buffalo and horse ranches and a golf course, and it's just a stunning drive home. I'm always about taking the scenic route, and I'll never forget those drives because of the conversations we had, the things we saw. It's new, right? So we got a chance to see this gorgeous topography. There's homes built into the hills, just so different from where we live, right? Just got a chance to do those kinds of things with my daughter, which was great. We are all about a road trip and a scenic route and finding the locally owned stuff. That is for sure our jam. But we had to laugh by going all the way to Crested Butte, and the basic town is shut down. The person probably thought I was nuts when I went to the pizza place, and I'm not sure if we're feeling pizza. We're going to check it out. Thanks for showing us the menu. And then nothing else is open. I live with the pizza place is it. So lesson learned. Make sure things are open before you drive 3.5 hours to a mountain town and nothing's available. But man, the family time was awesome. That's for sure. Things I didn't do well, not working out. We had a Planet Fitness that was in town in Colorado Springs, but it was on the north side of town. So it was about a 35-minute drive. And then it was, let's say you're there 45 minutes to an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, and then it's another 35, 40 minutes driving back. It's a 3-hour time commitment to go to the gym. That's a lot of time. And so I didn't do it very often. I didn't walk as much as I wanted to. I don't know. If it was cold out, I really didn't want to go for a walk. I was ready to turn the corner and be warm. And I think I was sort of over it by April. Like, I don't want to walk out in the cold. I'm done. So I didn't do that very well. I didn't read as much. I took a whole bin of books thinking I'm going to spend so much time reading, enjoying my view. I didn't. I didn't. I started a book and then I put it down. I journaled, a little bit, but I was trying to write and edit the podcast and things like that. So there was work to do. I didn't have as much downtime as I wanted to read. I just didn't take the time to do it. I mean, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were busy at baseball. So my time to read was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I just didn't take the time to do it as much as I should have. I brought art supplies. I didn't do shit with my art. Before I left, I've been dabbling in watercolors. I did none of that. Took all that with me, did none of it. I think I recorded 3 podcasts while I was out there. That's it. So that wasn't good. The things we also didn't do, we didn't make a list of things we wanted to do. Like, I should have made a bucket list of, okay, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And we didn't do any of those things. Like, I think we were planning on exploring more, but my husband's job, and I had my Panama trip, and then my son got hurt. So a lot of things were a bit of a distraction. We didn't explore as much as we wanted to. Eating healthy. We ended up going out to eat a lot because a lot of times it was the 2 of us, or the boys would come up, we'd take them to eat. And we found some great places. So we had the favorites. We love to go out to eat, but we don't do it as much at home. So I think in a new place, you want to try and explore and see these different places. And we try and find the locally owned restaurants and eateries. And we just didn't eat at home as much as we wanted to. We do breakfast at home, but we didn't eat as healthy as we should have. So not working out and not eating healthy, 2 tenets that I threw out the window when I got to Colorado, which is it's crazy because you think Colorado is the epitome of being healthy. But sometimes when you're living in a small town, there's not a lot of great options. If you've got to drive 20 minutes to find a healthy place, you're not really going to do it. So you tend to sacrifice sometimes. So we wanted to have experiences. We wanted to try local eateries. And we also knew it was a finite time in our lives. It wasn't going to kill us. So we did do more of that just to try new things. So all of that to say, it was a fantastic experience. We left the Monday after Mother's Day. We had 2 separate cars, obviously. My husband had his car packed with stuff. I had some stuff, plus the dogs. And I'm driving away. And as I'm driving down the mountain, it was as if I was saying goodbye to the whole experience of being up there. So I had tears for the first 45 minutes or so. We took the scenic route home. We drove from Colorado Springs up to Monument. Monument's kind of the next town up from Colorado Springs. Went east just a little bit and then back north. And you have this really gorgeous hilly country. And then we drove directly east again to connect with I-70 to get back home. So it was a longer road, but I wanted to see as much as I possibly could. I wanted to enjoy the beauty of the area before driving home. And man, it was tough. It was tough. I thought about all the things we experienced as a family while we were there. My daughter visiting, my son's broken hand, watching our sons play on the same team, watching them come in and out of the dugout together. So I'm thinking about all these things that happened and the feelings I had while I was there and all the gifts that chunk of time gave us. Being in the mountains, the things we saw, we experienced. We grew closer as a family for sure because of that experience. And it was worth every penny. Every penny. Now, my youngest is going to be out there by himself next year. We're going to do this again, but I don't know where my other son's going to be. Daughter, who knows where she'll be next year. Hopefully she can still come out and visit, but just such a unique moment in time that we got to experience as a family. Hands down, one of the best things we ever did. Hands down. Could I see myself living there? I could see myself living maybe Manitou Springs area or the Springs. In the springtime, I needed the warmer temperatures. I needed things to do. The one town, Woodland Park, is much more of a smaller community. Not a lot there. Sometimes the things you normally do in the summertime aren't available until literally Memorial Day weekend, if that. So yes, I could see myself living there at times. It's really hard to find the kind of home you want for a decent price. I mean, obviously there's a lot of places. I mean, California, Idaho, Montana, obviously Colorado, Arizona, places where people want to be and do activities outside. Real estate is hot and real estate is hard to come by for a decent price. So I think what we've come to the conclusion is we're probably going to keep our home base here in Kansas City. We're getting close to paying off the house and traveling like this again, going 2 months at a time, 3 months at a time. to some place where we feel like, let's go experience it. And maybe someday there'll be that place that goes, oh, this is definitely a place we want to be. We don't know. But to commit to one place is really hard until you've lived there. It was fun to get to know other people, and everybody out there, honest to God, is one of the things I noticed. Everybody was really, really nice. Waitresses, coffee shop owners, most people I met were very, very nice. I didn't know what to expect. I've been to a lot of resort towns in Colorado, and no one has to be nice to you because they know you're going to come back regardless. I had a lot of that in Breckenridge, some of that in Vail. I could care less about being nice to you because, number one, you're a tourist, and two, you're going to come back regardless if I'm nice to you or not. So that's what I've experienced before. I didn't get that a lot in Steamboat. I love Steamboat because it felt like an actual town. People were very nice there as well. Summit County sort of ruined a lot of that for me, but Colorado Springs, for the most part, was very friendly. Anyway, did my best to always strike up a conversation. People ask if we were just visiting, and I said, well, kind of yes and no. We're renting out here for a couple of months, and then that would stir up conversation. And then we had some great recommendations from people. So the more that we opened up and told people what we were doing and why we were staying out there, it just opened up more conversation. So I'm looking forward to it again next spring. I will take less clothes. I will take things I need, and that's it. If I take less, I can always purchase something if I need it. But I don't need to pack all the things. I don't need to pack 30 freaking baseball hats. I'm not kidding you. The second house we went to, there was a coat rack in the bedroom, and I took all my hats out and hung them up. And I could not believe how many stupid hats I brought. I probably wore 7 total. I was an idiot. I bought 2 hats while I was out there because I had to. And I bought 1 when I was in Panama. So I had 3 extra hats I didn't need. More shoes than I needed to. I wore 2 different pairs of tennis shoes. I ended up buying some nicer boots if we went to a nice dinner. And then I brought sandals I didn't need ever. I brought a pair of sandals to wear to Panama, and then that was kind of it. So that probably won't happen again next year. Just learning what to pack. So the next time I will go on more walks in the cold. I'm like, I just know that I'm going to be colder and just prepare myself. And it is the spring. It's not summer. So just get out there regardless. Go do the things. Take the dogs down to Garden of the Gods and walk around. Bring the pickleball rackets. Maybe find something to join before you get out there, whether it's a women's hiking group or something to do that will meet local women. And then also realize I'm not going to have as much time to get up to Denver to see friends. It just isn't as feasible. One of my best friends from college, she lives in Denver, but she works part-time. She's got 2 girls in high school. She's busy. And then when she was less busy, I was busy on the weekend. So it was sort of hard to get together. But we're going to have to make a better plan for that next time. But overall, the whole experience was awesome. I will cherish this time forever. The drive home, I was able to really soak it all in and think about it and picture all the things we did and just soak in that feeling of how amazing this was for us as a family. And know that the next time will be different because we're only going to have one kiddo there. And then the other ones, I don't know what they'll be doing, where they'll be at. Hopefully they get to come visit. And I'm looking forward to the next place. Maybe in the fall, we go find a place for a month, or maybe it's over Thanksgiving. I'm not big into hosting anymore at the house. We've got a very small family. It's usually just our immediate family to hang out. So maybe it's renting something for Thanksgiving where we can go ski, or maybe someplace completely different. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to that because I love being immersed in the community. I love trying to figure out the local eateries, what the locals do, getting the local calendar before we go. What I did when I got home was there's this local Kansas City magazine. And so I looked through what's happening, events that were coming up, and I put it in my phone immediately. This is what's going on this weekend, this art fair, this music festival, whatever. And then I had an alert that would come up a week before, a couple days before. So then I don't miss out on what's going on locally here in Kansas City. So I'm going to do the same thing, I think, the next time when I go out to Colorado or any place else we go to rent. I'm going to try and find some sort of event calendar and find out what's going on and then put it in my phone. That way I don't miss out on what's happening locally. That's one of my tips, is to get the event calendar, find out what's happening, whether it's live music or some sort of festival or some sort of event that is unique to that little community. Because then next thing you know, you're looking at the local paper and go, oh, we missed it. We missed that thing last weekend. But it was hands down a priceless experience for us as a family. For my husband and I, we grew closer. We had great conversations. We met some great people. The dogs loved it. The dogs had a blast. I think they missed their yard, but They love being out there. They love the weather. They would sit out on that flagstone patio with me and just chill, smell the air. They would just relax and sit in the sun. They'd find their little shady spot as well when it got too hot, but they love being there. Yeah, it was awesome. So that's my little recap of our time away in Colorado. If you need any recommendations, let me know. I'll pass on what I can, but I'm doing it again next year and I'll let you know how it goes. On Instagram, I do have a highlight on my page of our time there in Colorado Springs. So if you want to catch up and see what we did and things that I captured, I have to update a few of them. I didn't update as much as I should have towards the end, but I'm going to go back and look at those and make sure they get into the highlights. Highly recommend. If you can do it, is there a place you want to visit or explore or just get a chance to get out of your everyday norms? Go rent something, even if it's just for a couple of weeks. Give it a shot. I know this is unique to us because we no longer have children in the home to take care of every single day. So when that time comes or you have a moment to have some freedom, I absolutely recommend it. That's it for this episode. Again, go look at my Instagram, look at my Colorado Springs highlight. I think I have a Colorado Spring 2025. That's the highlight name, I believe. Again, don't forget I have a Substack. I'm getting back to normal writing over there. We have a community over there. It's behind a small paywall. I made it as cheap as possible. I think the limit you can do is $5. That's the cheapest I can make it. So if you want to come over and hang out and be part of our chat community, please come over there and hang out. I would love to read some books together. I think if you are looking for women that are also living awake, well, and empowered, it'd be a great place to meet other women that are doing the same. I know that when I started to choose different things in my life and to live a different way, it was a lonely time in my life, especially going through this midlife. Things were shifting. There's a lot that's going on between 40 and 50 and beyond. There's a lot that's changing. Kids are getting older. There's more free time. There's less free time. There's things you're doing differently that you're choosing to do differently. And it's hard to find your people sometimes. I know life changes. Things shift. People will come and go. Maybe they move away. Maybe there's no longer things that connect you anymore because you're choosing different things in your life. And you want women that are doing the same. Come hang with us over at Odd Life in Substack. I always have a link in the show notes. It's just a place to chill. So I know we don't need one more thing to join and be a part of, but you never know what you're going to find. Okay. That's enough about Substack. In the show notes, I'm also going to link to a couple different podcasts that I'm loving right now. So go check out those podcasts. Go support them. All right. Love you all. Have a great week, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you found this episode either helpful, inspiring, entertaining, or just made you feel less alone, or maybe all of those things. If so, I'd love it if you'd share this episode with a friend as well as on your social media. And if I dare ask for more, to rate and review the podcast on your favorite platform, especially Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You see, the more reviews we have, the more people we can reach, and the bigger the Odd Life community can become. You guys are the best. I can't wait to chat again next week, so we'll see you then.